Today we're talking about some new gear from Nearstream. Let's get into it. Hey, if you're a regular on this channel, you know that I am in a different place than I usually am when I record my content. That's because we're testing out some new equipment, and I don't usually move spaces when I test out new equipment, but this was a special one. I had to build an entirely new set for a 4-person podcast to test out the gear that I got for today. While Nearstream did send this to me, there was no stipulation on what I had to say, how I had to review it. So this is all my content, my thoughts on the gear that they shipped and asked me to review. So keep that in mind as we go. Let me tell you what we have here. The mic I'm speaking into is the AM25X, again, from Nearstream. It's a USB XLR combo mic. We'll talk more about the specifics of it here in just a moment. I've got it mounted to the Nearstream ST20 low profile boom arm. And then we'll talk about here in a little bit, the AMIX40U Mixer. So let me get this stuff out of the way. Let's talk first about the microphone. This is, as I mentioned, a USB XLR combo mic, which means you can use it with a USB connection, which I am currently. That's what you're hearing. And also with an XLR if you have a mixer, which is the AMIX40U that they sent. But you could use any mixer. That's the one they sent to me, and we'll test it out with that here in a moment. It is a condenser microphone, which means it needs some additional power. So 48 volts of phantom power, which is great because the mixer that they shared, the AMIX40U, does supply that. But any mixer interface you have should supply enough power for a condenser microphone. As far as the features of this mic, it has on the back, it has a USB-C port, obviously you can plug into your laptop. It's got the XLR port to plug into a mixer, then into your laptop. It's also got a headphone monitoring jack, which I have to say, that's the reason I'm using headphones now. I don't usually in my content, but there's a slight delay in what I'm hearing from the mic into my headphones. So it's not terrible. I'm obviously still able to do the video and still able to create this content. But just know that if that's how you're monitoring your audio through this particular mic, it's going to have a slight delay, which you won't hear in the recording. It has the one knob on top here, so you can adjust your gain going into your laptop or your computer. The mute, to mute this, you have to turn it all the way counterclockwise. It's not a press to mute like many of these mics are, so that may be personal preference. And it does have, you see the blue light here, that's active noise cancellation is turned on. If I were to press this button once, it turns off the active noise cancellation, which you're hearing now. So I'll talk just for a moment as we continue discussing this microphone without the noise cancellation on. Now, the space I'm in, I will say, is pretty open and wide open. I'm actually in the corner of a warehouse. There's not a lot happening today, so it's pretty quiet. So the noise cancellation may not make a huge difference in this particular video, but it's something to keep aware of if you are in a space that maybe you're next to a fan, things are blowing an air conditioner, or you're close to a window and there's stuff happening outside. The active noise cancellation is a great feature for that. So I'm going to go ahead and flip it back on to see if you can hear the difference as we continue talking. It's on now. Now, there is another feature. If you hold this button down, you will get a green light, and that green light allows you to adjust the mix of what's coming into the mic and what you're speaking into it, and then what you're monitoring, again, from your laptop if you've got it going two ways there. So I don't have anything coming out of my laptop, so I'm not going to use that feature now, and usually I don't. But that is an option with this streaming podcast content creator mic. As far as the handling noise, let me first say it's a pretty lightweight microphone. So I expect in a microphone like this that there would be some handling noise because it's pretty, I don't know, I don't want to say cheaply made, but it's a budget mic. And so as you handle it, you can hear some of my ring hitting it, my fingers tapping it. If I were to grab the mic and move it like I typically do when I talk, not so much when you're moving the boom arm. So it is a little quieter that way. So something to keep in mind. As far as the cost of this microphone, it is an $85 microphone, which actually puts it right in that appropriate budget for similar budget USB XLR combo mics. It currently right now is on sale for $71 on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description for that if you are interested. Now let me tell you about the second piece of equipment here. This is the Nearstream ST20 low profile boom arm. And as you can see, it doesn't have the large profile that would come up and maybe be in your way if you're speaking on camera, or just give something obstructing your view of your background, or particularly for a multi-person podcast. Oftentimes, these large boom arms will get in the way and obstruct your view of the person you're talking to. So I love the low profile of a boom arm like this ST20, just to keep it out of eyesight and eye line with someone you may be talking to, even if it's just your camera. It does come with an extender piece to raise it up another 3 or 4 inches if clearance on your desk becomes a problem. Now, unlike the mic that is made is primarily a plastic mic and pretty lightweight, the boom arm is solid metal except for some of the connection pieces, the knobs you turn to crank them down. It is pretty heavy duty. I do like it, and I do think it tightens down plenty if it needs to carry a heavier load, like a heavier mic than the Nearstream that I'm using here in this particular video. So love the ST20 for $79. It is a great buy. There's an affiliate link for that as well. Now, so far, I've been using this AM25X microphone via a USB connection. They did send me one other piece of equipment, which was the AMIX40U audio mixer. I'm going to switch my mic over to here for just a moment, and we'll hear the difference of how it sounds with an XLR connection running through this USB mixer that has some additional features than just a standalone USB mic. Give me 1 second. And now you're hearing the same microphone, the AM25X from Nearstream, running through an XLR cable into the AMIX40U Mixer. Let me tell you about this piece of equipment. It is considered, I think technically, a 2-channel mixer. That's because it has 2 XLR combo jacks here on the front that you can plug in an instrument cable or a standard XLR microphone cable running into it. But it does have some additional inputs here on the front. You have the music input you see, that could be from your phone or your computer if you're playing some background music, or you're doing some gaming and you want the gameplay coming through here, you can plug that directly in there. You have 2 headphone outputs here, which I do like if you're interviewing a second person. I like having the 2 inputs and the 2 outputs for headphones. It does only have the 1 adjustment that you can go from hear more of the software, things coming from your computer, or hear more of the hardware would be the actual microphone. So you can adjust that mix here with that knob in the front. If we go around to the back, you can see that it has the 2 USB-C ports. One is a DC in, so it's going to power it if you need it. I have it plugged into the USB port on my computer, so that's plenty enough power supply. So that you have the USB OTG port here. You have a monitor output, so if you have like computer speakers or monitors sitting on your desk, you can export or output the signal to that. And you have 2, a right and a left line output as well, if that's handy. Now, right here on the top, you can see it has a nice display, a colorful display that allows you to see what you're actually doing. If I were to go home here, you'll see everything on here is green, or all these lines that are active are green. When they turn blue, it means you've touched the button associated with that. And when it's blue, you can adjust the input. So I'm just going to play with this just for a moment just to show you. You can adjust it has some simple EQ adjustments. Touch it one more time. You have the denoise feature that's similar to the active noise cancellation on the USB version, but you have 3 settings here built into it. And then you have some reverb if you want reverb on your mic or your instrument that's plugged in. I'm actually going to turn this back to here because I turned it from the bright to the deep setting and I didn't like that. So we're on bright now. So those are the buttons here, the input 1, input 2. It's got a background music button here that you can adjust a couple other inputs. So the one on the front coming from your phone, your laptop, your computer. You've got the background music. You've got USB input. If there is something, you're plugged in via USB to your laptop, you can adjust that gain and the levels there. And then you have the the Bluetooth setting, which is the BT button over here. If you are connecting your phone through Bluetooth and playing some music for a live stream, let's say. So that's an option there. You've got also an auxiliary input. So you've got all sorts of options with that BGM, the background music button, and then your master output. You can adjust here. You can also adjust your headphone 1, headphone 2, and again, back to your master outputs. We'll go back home. Those are the features here. You have the loop back, the LB button, which allows you to, if you're playing something from, let's say you're doing some gaming, and you have the gameplay coming through here, it wouldn't necessarily record back into your computer or your PC or whatever you happen to be using. But if you turn on the loop back, it will. It'll push that sound back into the mix, into the recording. So you will have that, say for a live stream, you don't have to go back and add that music again. It is there, it's recording live. So that's the loop back button. We've talked about the Bluetooth. You've got effects that you can turn on for an instrument that's plugged in here. And then obviously the home button there as well to just get you where you need to go. The one knob, as you saw, it allows you to navigate the menu and adjust the settings. So it's a simple adjustment there. By the way, this is $149 currently on Amazon, and it's a good system for what it does. So it is a mixer, a traditional mixer, which means it's going to take all these inputs coming into the front of this, and it's going to mix them into a single output. If you have two people on your podcast, you can plug two mics in, which makes it really handy because otherwise it's really difficult to plug in two USB microphones into a single computer and record them together. You have to do some setting up with the MIDI device and making it an aggregate device that you can then record two USB mics into it and get separate tracks. It's a little complicated, but maybe I'll show you in another video if you're interested in how to do that. But this piece of equipment makes it possible to get not only two USB mics, but two XLR mics very easily through one USB cable into a single track in your DAW on your computer, wherever you happen to be recording. So my final thoughts on this gear from Nearstream and who it might be for. I think the sound quality of the microphone is decent. I do definitely think it sounds better coming through the XLR than the USB cable. So keep that in mind if you have the functionality of, say, the AMIX40U available to you to plug into an interface or a mixer like this. I do think the USB connection does sound better. It doesn't give the rich fullness that I like in a good podcast microphone. Even on the deep setting, it actually sounded a little muddy to me. But that's, again, that may be just my voice. Your voice may sound very different on the very same microphone. So microphone is decent. I think $85 for this mic is probably on the upper range of the price I would pay for this. There are other similar USB XLR combo mics in that price range. But I do, the sound quality of this, I don't think quite reaches that threshold for me. So the $71 price that it's on sale for now, I think is great. So if you are looking to save $15, $14 on a microphone, jump on it now, at least at the time of this recording. It could be a good mic for you. The mixer, again, I think is a great quality mixer. It's also very lightweight, made of plastic, but it's handy. It's small. It has some power to it as far as, some simple EQ mixing and some reverb and, some of the features that you saw. I do think it does a lot for what it is for $149. I think it's a good deal, but just know you're not going to be able to separate your tracks if that matters to you or not. Me, I prefer to have separate tracks to manipulate the sound and mix it in post-production. This doesn't allow me to do that, but for a quick podcast setup or quick gaming setup, this does the job, no problem. My favorite piece of equipment that they sent me is actually the Boom Arm. Now, again, it is higher quality construction. I believe it's heavier duty. It's got some weight to it. It has decent cable management up underneath here that not all of them do, to be quite honest. It's solid. It's going to hold your mic in place. And let's be honest, who doesn't need more boom arms? I don't care what mic you have. You're going to need a different boom arm for a different setting. For me, it was here at this desk outside of my office with 4 people, 2 people, or just me by myself. Love the boom arm. Good equipment from Nearstream. If you're interested in any of this, check it out. Affiliate links are in the description below, and I'll see you in the next video.